Gather round, children. I want to tell you the tale of an origin story.
Ooh, is it about Spider-Man?
No.
Is it Batman?
No. Something much darker and older.
Teletubbies?
No?
What? Oh, I can't think of anybody else. Who else would have a really good origin story that's dark and evil?
Batman?
A companion of St. Nicholas.
Jesus?
I'm down here.
Okay, Boomer.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Free Rotation podcast. I'm joined by my fellow brethren of St. Nicholas, Bobby.
I might be hungover.
And the sexiest elf of the North Pole. Nope, that's not it. That's not that one. Angie.
Hello.
All the elves are really old, but they work at the Claremont.
Well,
God.
Well, you know, old of the pot, the sweet of the honey.
Okay.
I don't even have a pot anymore.
Oh, it fell off.
I just got a tin can that I pip in. My pot broke.
Okay, so speaking of pot, we are not talking about marijuana and the legalization of it. We are talking about the most...
Fuck. What did I research it for?
Just for funsies?
Oh, okay.
We are talking about the most metal of holiday figures. I'm not talking about Jesus.
Jesus?
We're not. I knew it. I was going to say Jesus. We are talking about Krampus. I want like a metal riff right there, by the way.
Who wins in a fight, Jesus or Krampus?
Krampus.
You sure?
Yes, he's been around longer than Jesus.
So? I mean, Jesus is fucking like...
Jesus got nailed to a cross and died. It took him 3 days. Krampus is still like chilling.
Jesus?
Jesus. He's chilling. He's like a chilling Jesus.
He's Cheeto Jesus.
Ooh.
But anyways, if
He's
you...
Trump.
Oh, God.
I'm scared.
If you've ever listened to any of our past episodes about Christmas, you will find that the majority of us actually hate Christmas. I don't know if that's just because we're all like super Halloween happy people or we've just been disillusioned by the commercialization of this holiday.
That.
Probably a little bit of both, I would assume. Angie's all wrapped up in her old lady sweater.
Yeah.
I'd wear that fucking sweater. That's nice.
Yeah.
I love fucking long cardigans and shit. And especially olive. Once you get color.
But there's always one person that makes Christmas so much better, and that's Krampus. So we're
I
going
thought you were going to say me, and I was like, oh.
Okay, from the evil side. How about that? The evil dark side.
Me.
So if you haven't heard of Krampus, he's basically the St. Nicholas version of a metal character. Like every time I think of Krampus, I just think of like guitar riffs and like heavy metal, hard rock whenever I think of him. So everybody knows the story of St. Nicholas at this point, correct?
I don't.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yes, he's born this time of year.
Yes, let's rewrite history. And Santa Claus. Do you know who Santa Claus is?
Who?
Gee, honey, would you like to tell everybody who Santa Claus is?
Back in my day.
He's on the...
Saint Nicholas, and he rewards good children.
With presents.
He is a patron saint of children. That's literally what he is.
Yeah.
Wait, I didn't get presents. I got paddlings.
Then you probably were visited by Krampus. But basically what happens is on Christmas Eve every year, if you don't know who Santa Claus is, Santa Claus will come visit your house. He'll land his little sleigh on the roof, come down your chimney and leave you presents, which is not the creepiest thing in the world, I guess. But, you know, kids are weird and they like free things. So that's that.
Everybody likes free things.
Yeah.
That's true.
Now-
Except herpes. Okay, anyways. Well, you know, he would bring gifts to children who were good. However, on the other hand, Krampus would appear sometimes the day before St. Nicholas Day, back when it was St. Nicholas Day, and sometimes traveling with St. Nick to punish the bad kids in different ways in different regions, depending on where you're from. But we'll discuss this in a little bit because it kind of gets a little weird. But Krampus's origins are somewhat unclear, but the first stories about him appeared in Austria, stretching back to the pre-Christian Alpine traditions, which I didn't even know that was a thing. This actually covers a lot of Europe, so it's like Austria, Germany, Switzerland, and even parts of France.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Yeah, so we're kind of getting into like the North Polish kind of area with these stories. So you're looking outside of like the Celtic pagan traditions and more so these like pre-Alpine or pre-Christian Alpine traditions. Just as a reference, Krampus does derive from the German word Krampen, which means claw.
Oh.
So
Like White Claws?
kind of. And he is described as a half goat, half demon who has a striking similarity to the description of the horned god as seen in pagan traditions, which that's where a lot of the how do you say that word? Derivative of Satan comes from for Christianity. This is sort of the first ideation of Krampus where people would dress up in masks and animal furs and harass people during the pagan festival of Yule. But there's actually no real connection there.
Sounds like the start of furries.
Sure, we could say that too. Basically, a lot of stories covering Krampus, like figures in pagan traditions, aren't really connected, but a lot of scholars try to jam it all together to explain where this guy came from.
Gotcha.
Krampus has also been related to other creatures such as satyrs and faun in Greek mythology. Although Krampus's evil meter is a little more to the left than like satyrs and fauns, where satyrs and fauns just want you to have a good time and drink and do all the merry things. Krampus is literally going to eat you. Krampus is also described as clawed, carrying a birch stick, bearing horns, having dark hair, fangs, and a long tongue. That was my phone. Later descriptions of Krampus describe Krampus as being chained, which most likely came from Christians metaphorically chaining the devil figure. But honestly, it just makes him look cooler, in my opinion.
Fuck yeah. Let's put some chains on them. That's some BDSM shit right there.
But when you hear it, when you hear about Krampus, what you hear is you're supposed to allegedly hear chains when he's moving versus like the
bells.
Stuff, like the bells you would hear from Santa Claus.
And Krampus can sometimes wear bells too. He also wears bells.
He did it in the movie, I think. He had like bells in his hair.
Yeah.
He was spooky.
It's like putting bells on a cat kind of thing. You gotta hear him coming. So St. Nicholas put bells on Krampus.
Yeah, just so he could keep an eye out for the dude.
Can we have a WWE a TLC match with Krampus and Saint Nick?
I'm probably sure that I don't know. Saint Nick is. I bet you he could throw down.
Oh yeah. He probably fucking summon some.
I don't
elves.
know what you're doing. What are you doing?
I had something in my pocket. It felt like money. It wasn't. It was a list of things to do.
That's not as fun.
No.
But Christianity has also elevated this rite onto Krampus as being the dude who is basically punished by the devil or being the devil himself, because no one can be super awesome without it being evil. It's true.
Pretty much.
Right, because in the companions of Saint Nick, Krampus isn't evil.
No.
He just has a job, which is punish children. So the companions of Saint Nick are angels, demons, Krampus, and an old hag.
Yeah. And that was the thing is like, if you listen, and we'll go through a little bit more of his like realistic where he probably came from, but it was never anything like evil. It was more so the fact that there are bad kids in the world, and why do only the good kids get to be mentioned?
And he brings and the other thing that traces him back to the pagan witch covens is Krampus carries a rootin, which is a bundle of birches, which is very phallic and sexual for the witches.
Oh.
So that's how they tie it to pre-Christianity. And also I noticed, but an Alpine goddess.
Yeah.
He's affiliated with.
Oh yeah, that's where. Hey girl, how you doing?
How you doing? What's
Alpine.
up with my birches?
So I almost feel like Krampus is kind of like
prefer now.
is treated like how Hades is treated. Like Hades isn't bad; it's just a shitty job.
Yeah.
You know, there's a growing trend of people who think that Krampus was actually the son of Hel, a Norse goddess.
Yeah, and that I did mention that in the notes, but that's kind of become a modern thing at this point.
Yeah. But it does make sense, though, doesn't it?
It does. There was some talk that he, like, and this is more so based on, I guess it's come out in video games and stuff like that, but in the internet culture has kind of related him back to Hel, the goddess of the underworld. And it makes a lot of sense because he's also, like, depicted as a devil who comes from hell anyways.
And doesn't he kind of look like Grendel from Beowulf?
Yes.
He does.
Ooh, I'm waiting for my sexy anime boy adaptation of Krampus.
Oh, yeah, because everything Japanese gets adoption. Like, the devil is a part-timer. He's just like a 16-year-old boy.
It's funny you say that because there is a Japanese word with root that is rootin that means a rebirth.
Oh.
And a karmic rebirth.
Oh.
So it is interesting that you said that because all those things do combine. And that is what Krampus exists for, is to take a bad spirit and change them or take them.
Yeah.
You can take me anytime.
Oh, hey, Bobby. Awkward. Who knew that Krampus was going to be Bobby's new OTP?
Sweet.
Well, Moreland's
Bobby's
not.
daddy.
Daddy K.
You have one for every
God,
every letter in the alphabet.
Moreland is Krampus.
That explains a whole lot of things.
Morgan's just a cramp. Moreland is just a cramp some days.
Moreland is now the Morgan.
What do you think of that, Moreland? Go on, speak up.
Oh, he's
What do you got to say for yourself?
You're so funny, Moreland. You're so silly.
Oh my God.
That's so Moreland.
It's so Moreland.
Jesus help me. Oh wait, he's not here. Anyways,
Krampus helper.
so here's what there is the best origin story.
Wait,
which
what would you do if a hand reached in and just started spanking you after we asked that? Like
what?
beating
Like
you with
Krampus?
sticks? Yeah.
I would be really confused. Like as much as I want Krampus to exist because I think he's the most badass of holiday figures, I would be a little concerned, especially because like how did he get it? Like why is he right there? Why didn't he just come on the roof like everybody else? Why is
I
he
do
coming
have
through a
a
window?
chimney.
Yeah. Do you have a chimney?
Yes, Becky, I've got a fireplace with a chimney.
I didn't know that was an actual fireplace.
Yes. I'm done.
I thought that was just like, never mind. We're done. We'll talk
What do you
about
think
this.
this smoke coming out the top is?
I don't
Smoke
know.
Signals from the Indian in the cupboard up there.
Listen, why are you bringing back my childhood trauma? That's
Wait,
not fair.
What? I need backstory.
Okay, so this is like totally off the rails. But back in the day when Indian in the Cupboard came out, you could get a special edition where you would get a cupboard.
Okay.
And the little Indian. And I loved that movie when I was a kid. I don't even watch it anymore because it's traumatized me so bad. Because I wanted to put the Indian in the cupboard and get a friend. I don't know. I was like 6, whatever.
Sure.
So when we went to Blockbuster, my mom bought me the special edition. I was like, well, where's the cupboard? She's like, there is no cupboard. I'm like, what are you talking about? And she like flipped the inside, in the VHS tapes,
Yeah.
you flip the inside of the like insert with the picture and it was supposed to be the cupboard. I was so sad. I cried for like 30 minutes.
Really?
Yes,
Oh
because
my God.
this is another reason why childhood dreams should just be like destroyed early on. Because look at this. This is probably why I hate Christmas. Because it was around Christmas I got this. I have a lot of like Christmas trauma.
That just sounds spoiled. I'll be honest. But you needed Krampus to bring you a silver rootin'.
Think about it though. Like, why would it advertise as like a cupboard?
Do you know what St. Nicholas would bring you?
What?
A golden rootin'.
Okay.
But if you were a bad kid, Krampus would replace it with a silver rootin'.
Silver's still dope, though.
I take the silver
Yeah.
versus the gold.
It's better than like Zinnick.
I'd prefer Xanax over anything.
No, not Zinnick. Zinnick, please. Some Xannies would be nice. Wake me up.
Give me some bennies.
Oh my God. Anyways, so the best origin story for Krampus is actually the one Angie mentioned about the winter goddess, and her name was Perkta.
Is she percolating up there in the notes?
She's gonna come get you. I think after you hear the story, maybe you won't make fun of her.
Is she perky?
We gotta hit on the best part about Krampus in those.
What?
You know how you leave out milk and cookies for Santa?
Yeah.
Do you know what you leave out for Krampus?
What?
Tea!
Oh
He
man,
just wants a hot cup of tea.
That's kind of wholesome.
Yeah.
it is. But my question is, who is leaving out anything for Krampus?
I am, just in case. If he's coming in the door, I'm like, here, I know Boo was bad this year.
I know.
But tea.
Yeah, don't take my cat and spank her with a birch stick. I really would
And if you
appreciate
do,
it.
I need to see it.
That.
Define my cat.
Let's go back to Perkta, okay?
Okay, she's percolating.
Anyways, let's not. Okay, so she has actually pretty badass. She is
First, think of the Alpine Mountains as West Virginia hillbilly mountains.
okay.
Like when you say Alpine Mountains, I think people are thinking of
Yeah, like Sound of Music. Is that your
Yeah.
impression of Sound of Music? Because that was amazing.
No, that was a yodeler.
Oh, God.
Ricola.
Okay, there we go. We got
How did
there.
you not understand the yodeler?
Sorry, you must have been doing it in alpinism.
Like,
I don't
did
know.
this outfit not give it away?
Apparently not.
Okay.
Oh, anyways. So she is the goddess in alpine paganism, which I didn't even know was a thing until I started reading this stuff. But hey, she's awesome. Initially, she was the upholder of cultural taboos, such as the prohibition against spinning on holidays. So I guess you couldn't spin wool on holidays.
So dreidels were out.
Break dancers were out.
They're out. They're dead.
I fucking love dreidels. It's the excuse to start gambling as a kid.
True.
A lot of politicians are out because they spin doctoring. Never mind. It sounded good in my head.
Okay, that was okay. Just sometimes we just need to stop our sentences before
Oh,
we
I
start
woke up.
talking.
What were we talking about?
Anyway, initially, and in Bavaria and Austria, she was said to roam the countryside at midwinter, around the time of Yule and other winter festivals.
Was she naked like Lady Godiva?
Well, let me finish up telling you what's going on, miss. Let's not interrupt.
What were you going to call me?
I said miss. Just miss. Calm down. Calm your tits. They're flopping.
Like Swiss Miss Chocolate?
Sure.
From the Alpines?
There you go. Look at you relating it
Full
back.
circle.
She would enter the homes during the 12 days of Christmas and Epiphany, which is the 12th night. Get educated. I didn't actually know that was what the 12th night was called, by the way. And because she was a goddess, she would know whether the children or the young servants of the household had been well behaved during the year. If they had been, they would be rewarded with a silver coin in a shoe or a pail. If not, she would slit their midsection open, remove their guts and stomach, and stuff it back with straw and pebbles.
Okay, that escalated very quickly. Here's the 1 silver coin.
Intestines.
Right. And this chick would also slit you open if you ate something other than fish and gruel on her holiday.
So that's where the Catholics got that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ew, who wants to eat? Ew.
I don't mind gruel. It's actually quite tasty.
I like fish, but gruel.
That's like grits almost.
Yeah.
So
But like with a gravy.
But it's not just fish and gruel. You could eat different kinds of meats. It was like you had a specific diet you could only eat on her day. It was her feast day. And if you didn't, she's going to come stuff you like a chicken.
It's her party, and she can slit you if she wants to.
It's her party, and she can slit you if she wants to.
she can fist me if she wants to.
Okay.
Wow. But depending on the mood you got her in, she would either appear as a beautiful woman dressed in white or a withered old hag coming to kill you.
Sound familiar, St. Nicholas companions?
Yep.
Yep.
Her minions, the Perkden, would show up to bring good fortune to those who were good or appear as ugly, demonic, horned beings, spoiler alert, who would scare away bad spirits during Christmas. Now, just to give a little bit of background, this was all part of a parade and a run that you kind of see now with the Krampus run, but it was called the Perkdenlauf. I can't say that, so I'm going to just say the Perkden run. And they would have that, it would be a run. It was almost like a parade where men would dress up as these like horned demonic beings as the Perkden and run through the town in order to ward off evil spirits. However, because Christianity can't deal with anything that may be mischievous or possibly evil, they banned this tradition, which then they created the whole Saint Nick tradition, which was to have Saint Nicholas move through the town to bring good favor and good fortune. However, because everybody thought, listen, this tradition is stupid not to have the thing that we've been doing for years, let's create a new character called Krampus, who could join in with Saint Nick and his Krampus other beings, because Krampus initially it wasn't just one guy, it was several little beings like the Perkden, and they would ward off evil spirits and insist on bringing good fortune to everybody. But since Christianity still hates anything that looks evil, they basically made him the evil counterpart to Saint Nick, which he would travel and bring bad fortune to any bad kid or anything like that.
Nice. Does he have a sleigh or does he have something different?
So there's a couple of ways you could take it. So like if you see it in modern, like the movie Krampus, he has his own like sleigh. He just is the evil like mirror image of Saint Nick. Some people or some regions and some cultures believe that he traveled with Saint Nick. So what would happen is Santa or Saint Nick would leave a coal at the house that would indicate to Krampus that this was the house you needed to go to punish these kids.
Mm-hmm. Beat the kids, stick them in your sack, take them away.
Yeah, well, there's a couple ways. You could beat the kid with the bird. There's a couple where you're like, you could beat the kids, spank them because they were little naughty boys. And then sometimes you would throw them in your sack, taking them to hell, and then eat them.
Depending on the level of bad.
Yeah, depending on the level of bad.
Like, there's like, oh, you snuck out and had some cookies. And then there's like, oh, you're fucking skinning animals alive in your room.
Then there's, oh, you ate a steak on my fish day.
Intestines.
Jesus.
Well, and think about it, like, I guess if you're a god or a goddess, you would want your day to be like revered. So what are you going to do if somebody doesn't do what you tell them to do? You got to punish them. You got to slit them open. You got to put some straw and pebble in them.
That's so aggressive, though. I feel like there's like, it should like slowly escalate. Like, if you do it like twice in a row, like, sure. But like, the first time you should get like just fucking spanked or something.
Well, the thing is, like, I think with a lot of these traditions, it was just to teach kids, like, don't be bad. Even back before it was any sort of Krampus style, whatever, and Saint Nick's existence, I think that it was important to teach kids, like, to be well behaved. And to be honest, I mean, it wasn't like now where kids are like kind of gifted with everything and creature comforts. Like, think about those back in those days. Everything was kind of hard and difficult. How else are you going to punish a kid?
It's hard.
They probably got paddled on a regular basis. You got to up it a little bit, slit your stomach open, slip some pebbles and some stones inside of you.
So what you're saying is the spanking kink is hereditary.
I didn't say that, but sure. We can go with that, Bobby.
Also, I think Krampus, I don't feel like he's a sleigh type. I feel like he rides like a Harley.
He's like Hellboy. No, what is the skull?
Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider. He's like the Ghost Rider of our time.
The Ghost Rider, yeah. Or like a really shitty, like fucking, like Model T looking fucking car that flies.
Maybe.
And like, he just stuffs like the kids in the fucking backseat, like the back of the
Like Nosferatu?
Yeah, like no seat belts. You're gonna fucking bounce around and shit.
There's no safety. We don't even have airbags in this car.
Uh-oh.
It's pulled by cats.
That would be your
Hellcats.
version of Krampus
Yep.
you would want to see. I just think that it's an interesting Saint Nick was actually created way after Krampus's existence ever happened. So it's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like almost like everything started bad. Everything had to start in a bad situation. Like, we have to punish kids first, let them know that they're little bad kids, and then it was like switched to be more commercially happy, where everybody could be, if you're a good kid, you get presents. La 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 la.
The parents love you, they'll buy you presents.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that's really where it was going with that, but I don't know. I think that the whole idea of Krampus makes a lot more sense than a guy who comes to your house and brings you presents. Okay, well, that was all my notes, guys.
Was it really?
Well, Saint Nick didn't really bring presents. He brought the golden stick, meaning you were good, and he brought good luck. Then it could just, even back in the day, it got commercialized, and suddenly you would get rewarded because, of course, you should be rewarded for good deeds.
Yeah. He existed as the patron saint of children in the first place. So, yeah. Everything got commercialized when he became Santa Claus. But I think the important thing about the dichotomy of the two of them is that it's supposed to teach you to be good versus being bad, and that, there are consequences for your actions.
And if you look up the old depictions of Saint Nicholas, doesn't look like the Santa Claus we know that was created in the 50s here.
Yeah.
Like, it's very different.
Yeah, he's like fucking wearing holly and shit.
That's why postcards and cards used to just have Krampus on it, because there was no Santa Claus.
Well, and they've done a really interesting job of commercializing Krampus at this point, because, there's chocolates, figurines. There's an entire run that is mostly in the West European countries, but even in North America, they have the Krampus run where people dress up as Krampus and chase people. Like, they get drunk and chase people through the streets.
Oh,
Sounds heavenly.
I think it sounds fun.
I'd do that regardless of the day.
And these costumes they dress up are terrifying. Like some of those masks. Oh, because you have to hand carve your Krampus mask though.
Oh, I'm not good with knives. I just get stabby.
So
well, I'm sure you could purchase it. We live in a very different world than we used to, but
you could get Perkta.
That should be an app. Perkta.
But you guys wanted to talk a little bit about the movie Krampus itself.
Gas.
That movie was great. It was a black comedy.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's been a lot of TV shows and depictions of Krampus, but this, I think, is the one that kind of brought him to the forefront of people knowing who Krampus was without just being researched on the internet.
It's surprising. It's rated PG-13, but it's fucking pretty bloody and dark for a PG-13 horror movie. I was impressed when I saw it. I was like, this is going to fucking suck. And
Right, it was funny. It was scary. God. It covered all the bases.
Well, the director had initially said that he wanted to make it an R-rated movie, but he had a feeling that parents were going to accidentally take their kids to see this movie thinking that it was a holiday movie, which if you don't know who Krampus is, he's literally in the title. You can Google who he is and what he is. If you're taking your kid to see these movies, there must be a reason, they're a juvenile delinquent or something to that effect.
The end of that movie actually shocked us, remember?
Yeah.
I was so fucking happy with the ending. The kid's like, no, give him back. And he comes back and just fucking drags him too. I was like, this is gas.
Well,
but they were in a snow globe.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the whole point...
that shocked me.
Well, and I don't know if y'all remember, but the whole point was that his family made fun of him for having a letter to Saint Nick. So he tore it up and threw it in the air. So
dun, dun, dun.
Saint Nick was like, all right, little kid, let me show your family how we roll then.
I felt bad for the grandma because she already had to survive Krampus once, and then it's because her family's shitty. She gets fucked too. That's not fair.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a good indicator from the movie's perspective, the whole idea that just having no Christmas spirit or having this disillusioned way you treat your family, it's like a metaphor almost that this is what happens. You poison your own family traditions and all of that stuff.
Right, because they took his innocence and they took his true Christmas spirit and was like, presents, do this, stress, meh.
It also taught me to listen to little old European ladies about
Yeah.
demonic entities.
If she's
That's
like,
true.
Don't eat the sausage on December 5th. Parkta will get ya.
I'm listening.
She listened.
Oh, see, I forgot that she mentioned Perkta in that. Like,
Did she really?
Yeah.
I haven't watched that movie in a minute.
It's
I
been
need
a
to
hot
rewatch.
minute, but I think it was a good holiday. Are you okay?
Yes.
Okay. I think it was a good holiday movie for those of us who are disillusioned about the commercialism of Christmas anyways.
Oh, that fucking episode of Supernatural had Perkta in it.
What?
Oh, really?
Yeah,
When?
that season. I don't know. It's Perkta, but there was. I think it's the season where Dean. It's like season 3 where Dean has a year left and he wants to celebrate Christmas, and like they think Krampus is going around ganking these people, but no, it's like these 2 pagan gods that are fucking making these wreaths out of like old timey shit. And when you put it on your door, it's inviting them in for sacrifice.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
they're tricking people into inviting them in.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
they only get killed by this special kind of birchwood or something. So I don't know if it's perked up, but I was like, oh, that's pagan.
That's actually pretty good. I
Yeah.
think was it Winona Earp that had the episode where it was a guy who was dressed up as Santa
Yeah.
Claus and he was actually stealing children. Somebody had dressed like an elf. Was it Winona Earp? Maybe it was. Yeah.
No, I think it was, yeah.
Okay, where somebody would dress up as Santa Claus and you have like your little elf child who would help you and you would take that child and turn them into a doll.
But, like, isn't it interesting that Perkta's little minions, they would appear as little angels or little devils. But when they were devils, they were warding off bad spirits. But what did they do? They went after people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when we talk about warding off evil spirits, I think we all have to look. Just because we're alive doesn't mean we're not an evil spirit.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think the point of it also was that it was to punish people who were bad in general. Like she would appear as a withered old hag. To be fair, a lot of it was selfish because, you didn't eat fish on her day. But
But she is a goddess, and there's probably a reason. There's reasons.
Well, she was the winter goddess of anything taboo. So don't do anything. Don't wear white after Labor Day. That was one of her
That's
things.
what she really killed people for.
Yeah.
No, and do you know the reason behind that? The Labor Day bit?
No, why?
Because back in the day, people wore linens in the summer because it was hot, and linen primarily came in white. So after Labor Day, it cooled off. You didn't wear white anymore.
Oh.
But fuck that rule. I wear white whenever I want.
Well,
'Cause-
Bobby, you are white, so you're gonna rip
Hold
your
on,
skin off.
let me open my jar of mayonnaise real quick and start eating it because I'm hunky.
That'd be Miracle Whip if you're real honky.
No, I eat Hellman's.
Hellman's
I
real
love
mayonnaise. But I think that, I don't know. I think with the holidays coming up and all of that, I prefer these stories where it's like, it doesn't make Christmas all just happy-go-lucky. It's all about Jesus and Santa Claus bringing presents. It's like, you got to remember the reason for the season is to just be an overall good person. Or you get eaten.
Yeah, pretty much. Don't drive yourself broke buying gifts for everybody like I am.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
Okay.
Nice. Oh yeah, you know those like old is it Ralph Bashki the fucking stop motion animation bits?
Yeah, like Rudolph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do they have Krampus in one of those? You'd think they would.
I think, well, I mean, Jack Frost is kind of
Yeah, I was
depicted
gonna-
as the bad character in
Yeah,
those.
and like
Oh yeah.
right Christmas,
yeah.
and it's got like the bad one, like the north and what is
South.
that one called?
I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've watched that.
There's
It
a
creeps
lot
me
of
out a
those.
little
There
bit.
no Christmas.
There's a lot of those.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's that fucking fire dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
And you know that there are stories about Santa Claus who, like, it wasn't, like, people took the story of Santa Claus, but it was like they would steal children and eat. It was like Krampus, but it was Santa Claus. I don't know. I feel like there's, like, this dark undertone to Christmas, which makes a lot of sense because if you actually know the traditions of Yule and all of that stuff, like, this time of year isn't actually that happy. It's like the time of year when you're trying to like burn like light and make light happen because of the darkness.
You're warding off the darkness.
That makes sense. You know,
Also, St. Nick's Day used to be December 5th.
Yeah.
So, and Krampus would come maybe a day before him.
Yeah. That's how you do. Like kids would open their doors. Like if they checked in their like shoe or their little pail and saw that they got a stone, they're like, well, shit, I got visited by Krampus. Because you didn't get your gold coin or whatever it was that you would get from St. Nick.
what do you spend the gold coin on though?
I don't. It's like
Your
the Tooth
parents
Fairy.
would take it.
Yeah, I think it's like the Tooth Fairy.
Fuck the parents.
Well,
I earned this shit.
I was good all year. Why'd I have to give it to you?
I want to buy a Billy Goat. I want to name him James.
I'm gonna marry him one day.
No, I wasn't going.
Wow, that
to
is a
shit.
tradition we are not going into.
Oh, come on, be Shalley's wholesome.
It's like people have forgotten the reason for the season is to burn away the darkness. So set your Christmas trees on fire, people.
Not the plastic ones though.
You're a
Those
little
fumes.
confused, Becky.
Well, I mean, to be fair, that really was the tradition. Why would you light the Yule log? It was to burn away the
Don't
darkness.
set your tree on fire. You got to be more specific. Take it outside.
Yeah, you
Don't do it inside.
You're some stupid fucking people.
I said put it in the microwave. Put it in the microwave.
Stick it in the oven, turn it on, make a nice little campfire in your house.
Get the marshmallows.
Just only the real trees. Burning plastic smells nasty.
Yeah.
Then after they burned the Yule log, they would take the ashes and put it at their door.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't actually remember why.
I think it was to indicate, like, to keep bad spirits out. I mean, a lot of this is to keep bad spirits
I
out.
thought they ate it.
No.
The Yule log?
No.
Oh, no, they would cook meat on that night of the year, though. They would cook it the entire time. And the longer the Yule log burned, the better fortune you'd have the next
Yeah.
year. Maybe that was the fortune of the hearth.
Yeah.
I can't remember now, to be honest.
I just think that if you really want to find out the interesting portions of Christmas and all of its origins, you definitely need to look into not the Jesus parts. Like, all of that stuff about Jesus is all great and all, but like everything else, like Krampus, everything got related back to Christianity that were pagan traditions in order to convert people. So, a lot of these...
But they were unable to, I said revert.
Convert.
There we go. Convert
Crusaders.
the followers.
Yeah.
Because it was so high up in the mountains that they were like, meh.
Man, we'll just call it
What you gonna
Krampus.
do?
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally where Krampus came from. It was because the Catholic Church was trying to convert people away from showing demonic horned beings running through the streets to having Saint Nick. So Saint Nick just got a companion who was a demonic horned being running through the street.
He'd be a fun guy to grab a beer with.
Yeah. Well, and he looks like the traditional depiction of Satan. He's horned, furry. He
has
except
fangs,
Krampus
claws.
has one hoof and one real actual foot.
Yeah.
That's gotta be hard to buy shoes.
He's pirate. His back leg is a hoof.
I like how you're writing fan fiction about Krampus right now.
Totally.
Krampus is totally gonna be in an episode of One Piece.
If he hasn't already been, there's been a lot of episodes of One Piece.
Don't get me
At
started.
this point, we've all been in an episode of One Piece.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I just think Krampus is a lot cooler than a lot of the other Christmas traditions. I think it's important to teach your kids about not just being good, but what the consequences of being bad are. And that's you're going to get eaten. So there you go, guys. You're welcome. I hope you enjoyed my rant about Krampus.
It wasn't a rant. It was a well-constructed thought.
It was wonderful. It actually
It
really was
was-
wonderful.
It was joyous.
It is the season to discuss it.
Triumphant until you got eaten by Krampus.
It's fun. Hey,
Hey,
Becky. Where can they find us?
That was beautiful. That was some good harmony. You can find us on Facebook at The Free Rotation Podcast. You
Spotify.
can find us on Twitter at The Free Rotation.
Instagram.
You can find us on YouTube and Twitch at The Free
website.
Rotation. We're also on Instagram at The Free Rotation Podcast. We're affiliates of Weeby Geeks. Check us out at all the other great podcasting networks at WeebyGeeksPC.com. And you can check out
SoundCloud.
TheFreeRotation.com.
We lost our episode.
Who did? SoundCloud? Oh, yeah, because we did I forgot we put
That was such a great episode, too.
It was a good episode. Our first episode, I guess our episode 0 was on SoundCloud. It got lost.
I'm sorry.
That's the true origin story.
It got zeroed.
That's true. Alrighty.
Well,
Check us out next week for our 100th episode. We did it, Obama.
I sent Krampus an invitation to the back of Bobby's car. So
Sweet.
we've got that to look forward to.
You just fucking you just see me jerking on the fucking road and shit. I'm like, guys, I call you up. This Krampus guy is super nice. He's giving me a fucking back massage while I'm fucking
Like
driving.
with his claw,
Yeah.
he's pushing on the pressure points.
Oh.
Like with the rounded part of it.
Yeah.
You like that?
yeah, Daddy K. Let's keep going.
Let me introduce you to Perkta.
Ooh.
Did you eat fish today or sausage?
You like fish dicks?
Fish sticks.
Jesus.
No, Krampus.
You find out your fish was fake. It was like injected with chicken stock.
Oh my god.
Aspartame, does Captain D's count? This fish.
That's so scary.